are some places in this world
I can't see you back there,
where a pretty girl should never walk alone
but I can feel you.
unless her name is China O'Brien.
Howdy, folks, and welcome to the Wacky World Drive-In, an 80s action movie Christmas. Even though that's a sort of misleading title because there won't really be any Christmas content, this is just coming out around Christmas, and we'll probably talk a bit about early 90s action as well. With me, as always, is the amazing Mr. Vincent.
Hey everybody, yeah, this is going to be our Christmas episode with action movies, which should make for a really fun and merry Christmas.
Because growing up, my childhood, like early childhood years, I mostly associate with being a monster kid, horror movies. But as I got a little bit older and I discovered action movies, my focus was definitely split into, but like I liked me some action movies just as much.
Yeah, in tying in a bit to our last episode, whenever I went to the video store, I went to the horror section first and looked for stuff, but then if I didn't really see anything or maybe just found one that caught my eye, my next stop was always the action section, action adventure, whatever they called it, and always go over there, looking for Sybil Danning or Cynthia Rothrock on the box cover or something.
Well, actually, my first step would always be the new releases. I'd have to hit that new releases wall first.
Oh, okay.
And then after the new releases wall, then I think it went to horror and then to action.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's probably what I did too.
In the 90s, as far as video store memories, the Blockbuster I would go to, because at the point, Blockbuster was the only thing available, they actually had a martial arts section.
Wow, what a Blockbuster. That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, everything was censored, being Blockbuster, but still, it was cool having that martial arts section. It wasn't huge, but they had a lot of the Wu-Tang movies and, a lot of older stuff.
Oh, cool.
I think the actual just kind of action movies, the more B-movie action movies, were just kind of mixed in with everything else.
Yeah, I know the mom and pop video stores I used to go to they had like an action section, but then a lot of times, like in Blockbuster, they would be like, they had like a mystery section or something, or detective. You kind of had to poke around for them.
So then what would be your earliest kind of action movie memory be, or something that really stands out into your mind of this being something?
I remember the first one I really rented that kind of just blew my mind at a video store was I think it went by, it's probably had several titles, but the title I remember it by is called Scorpion Thunderbolt. It was a Godfrey Ho movie. It's the one that has the giant like worm monster and Satan possession and everything. It just really blew my mind.
I don't think I know that one. What are some of the other titles? Maybe I know it under that.
Oh, it might be just called Thunderbolt. His movies have gone through so many titlings, but it's the one that has the giant worm monster in it.
Was that a 70s film?
It was 80s, I believe.
80s, okay.
Early 80s, yeah. But it was always hard to find his stuff, but then I always kind of saw his stuff out. I remember one called Official Exterminator I really enjoyed. And then, like I said, I always looked for Sybil Danning on the cover.
Right.
Because she had that whole line, like the Sybil Danning adventure video that she did the little promo introduction for. Those were always really cool.
Oh, I don't know those. Wow.
Yeah, a lot of times she wasn't in them, but she always did like a little with her standing in front of plastic jungle plants and a, leopard skin bikini holding a gun. She would always do an introduction.
Funny thing, probably most people probably think of her as like a horror movie type actress.
Yeah, she's one of those people that I guess in the 80s and into the 90s, she kind of tried to transition herself over into an action star.
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember that one she did was pretty big. I think it was called L.A. Bounty with Wings Hauser.
I think I know that name, and I remember Wings Hauser too.
Yeah, that's another one that stands out in my mind with her in that black leather jacket. And they always had those guns in them that looked like some kind of science fiction gun that was just put together from like 6 different guns.
Oh, yeah. Just old props laying around.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you my earliest action movie memory, and this was actually before I started school even. And then I remember seeing it again when I first started school, maybe first or kindergarten or first grade. But that was Bronx Warriors. what is it? Bronx Warriors 20, was it 2020, 2012? What is it?
Yeah, 2012, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, that movie, I saw it as, a very young kid, and it just really stuck with me, especially that last scene where there's the fire and dudes on the motorcycle and Fred Williamson is there. It just really kind of touched a chord, even at such a young age. And that was one of those lost films for me because I knew it from that so well, but I didn't know the name of it. I didn't know it back then. So for years and years and years and years, I searched to try to find the name of that movie. And it wasn't until I was in my late 20s that I finally discovered it again.
Yeah, a lot of that's another whole nother fun genre is that whole kind of Italian post-apocalyptic Mad Max, Escape from New York ripoff subgenre.
Yeah, I mean, that one's kind of a nice little mashup of Escape from New York with The Warriors.
Yes. Yeah, yeah.
And funny thing, I saw that movie way before I saw either of Warriors or Escape from New York. I actually didn't see either of those until I was an adult as well.
Oh, wow. That's kind of neat. You saw that first then.
Yeah, that was kind of my first exposure. It was late night, probably HBO, being early 80s. But I just remember seeing it and really just, wow, blown away by it. And I still quite enjoy it to this day, especially the lead. Have you seen it?
Yes. In fact, I think I have it on Blu-ray. Yeah.
Yeah, the main actor guy, was it Mark Gregory? Is that
Yes,
it?
I think that's his name. Yeah.
He has the most unusual walk. Like next time you watch it, watch for his walk. It's extremely unusual.
Oh, wow. I'll have to check that out now. Now you got me thinking about it.
Yeah, from what I understand about him is I don't even think he was an actor per se. Some producer or director saw him working out at a gym and liked his look. I was like, hey, you want to come be in a movie?
Oh, he does have the look.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he's an unusual, or I shouldn't say unusual. He's a unique looking fella.
Yes. And that's the one where the opening scene is him playing the drums. Or is that a different? Am I thinking of a
There is drums being played. I don't think he's playing them, but there is someone playing the drums.
Drums, yeah. I just haven't seen in years.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely kind of a Escape from New York-ish. No one's trying to escape from where they are, but they are kind of in a New York that's kind of blocked off, supposed to be blocked off from the rest of the world, but you can like see the cars on the highway in the background.
That's one thing I was just going to bring up. And I guess they went over there and filmed those. And back in the 80s, they could just go down to the Bronx and they didn't have to do any set design. It always looked like a post-apocalyptic world down there anyways.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, except for, like you mentioned, the cars driving on the freeway in the background.
And I think that movie is what's made me a lifelong Fred Williamson fan, too.
Yeah, Fred Williamson is great. I actually got to meet him once at a convention, and he was just the nicest guy in the world.
I didn't know he did conventions.
This was probably 10, 12 years ago, and he was just, just outgoing and gregarious, just like you picture Fred Williamson being. Always had the cigar in his mouth and stuff. And
that's cool. Yeah, I like him quite a bit.
Yeah,
he did a couple westerns as well that I quite liked.
Yeah, he did the westerns, and of all kind of the black exploitation guys, he's my favorite by far.
Mine too. Yeah, mine too.
He just always seemed to have such a great attitude. Even in the real serious movies, he just seemed to be always just such a likable guy. Even when he played a villain, he just seemed to be a likable guy.
Yes, I was gonna say just likable. That's the only way you can describe him.
Yeah. But the westerns he did, like you mentioned, are really good.
Yeah, there was one where he played kind of a scoundrelly kind of character. I forget the name of it, but he didn't have a mustache yet. And it was so odd. I was like, Fred Williamson without his mustache.
Yeah. But those are, he was, for a couple years there in the 80s, it was like 2 or 3 Fred Williamson movies every month, I think.
And that's not enough.
No.
Yeah, he also, I've never seen it. I just know there's a lot of confusion because people get it mixed up with a Laura Gemser movie I like. But he did a Cobra, kind of a blaxploitation Cobra called Black Cobra.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one yet.
Yeah, I know that one well because, Laura did one called Black Cobra Woman.
Yes.
And for some reason, people get those two movies mixed up a lot. Like the Amazon listing, for the longest time, all the reviews for Black Cobra Woman were Black Cobra reviews.
Oh, that happens all the time on Amazon.
Yeah, very, very strange.
Yeah. I remember also too checking out. It was one of those one guy you always had to hunt for, but the Sammo Hung movies like Eastern Condors and stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Those are always great. Like, you know, kind of war action stuff with all sorts of great stunts and guys flying through the air and everything.
Oh, I mean, I pretty much will talk about Sammo Hung and Yin Biao any chance I get. I just, I've discussed them on other podcasts, and yeah, big fan of those guys. The whole trio, Jackie, Sammo, Yin, all just great stuff.
Yeah, yeah. It was great just kind of seeing those things for the first time because it was something that you never saw before, those stunts and everything like
Mhm.
that. It was just like, you know, mind blowing to watch that stuff for the first time.
Yeah, that a human being, like some of the Jackie stuff, that a human being could actually move that way. It was mind blowing. You're right.
Yeah, there's that one, it's from one of his later movies. It may even be one of the ones he did over here in the United States, but there's one stunt where he's fighting, then he jumps. There's like an A-frame ladder on the floor, and he jumps inside the ladder. It's
Right, right, yeah.
I think I hit rewind about 12 times. I said, how did he do that?
I know the scene. I can see it perfectly in my mind, but I can't place which film it's
Yeah,
from. But I know exactly. Yeah,
yeah.
definitely. Okay, well, that's the next question then. What is your first kind of the foreign martial arts films? Like, what's the first one you really saw that really kind of touched home?
Oh, the first one I saw, I actually used to go see him in the theaters. And I remember seeing Five Fingers of Death,
Okay, a
which I think
classic.
was one of the real early ones. And that was something that I remember I had to go to when I lived in Michigan. We had to actually go to downtown Detroit to watch it because it wasn't playing at any of the uh, outside the suburban theaters. But I remember seeing a TV spot for it and just saying, I got to see this. Then
Right.
just that was the first time, you know, again with like the trampolines and the wires and everything, that it was like, wow, this is something.
Yeah, the very first like actual martial arts film I can remember seeing was my mom, I think, was a Chuck Norris fan. So I remember seeing kind of some of the Chuck Norris stuff early on. Maybe the Octagon. I don't remember exactly years. I just know she was in the Chuck Norris. So Chuck Norris is kind of the first thing I kind of remember. And then I remember seeing the scene where Chuck Norris fought Bruce Lee. And I think that was kind of one of my introductions into the actual Hong Kong cinema.
Oh, wow. Yeah, yeah. Norris movie, I always remember the one where he fought the Frankenstein creature monster thing.
Was
Code of
that
Silence.
Code of Silence? Yeah. What's the one that ends with the bad guy down at the bottom of a well?
Oh, that I don't remember.
Okay.
I
Do
know
you
the
rem-
scene you're talking about, just like the Jackie Chan thing, but I can't remember what the movie was.
is it Hero and the Terror? Or is that a
Might,
different one?
yeah. I haven't revisited Chuck in a while, so.
You haven't either. Yeah, because kind of as I started discovering more and more martial arts and people like Sammo, I was like, the Chuck Norrises and the Bruce Lees just didn't really do it too much for me anymore.
Yeah, a few years back around here, I got to go see, they had a little 3D festival at one of the kind of art house independent theaters here, and they ran Dynasty, which is the 3D martial arts film.
Oh, wow.
And that thing was incredible. It's just, you know, constant 90 minutes of stuff flying at you.
So the 3D was pretty good then?
Oh, yeah, it was great 3D. It had all the, you know, these guys throwing like these big twirling blades out at you and stuff. They did two, I think, in Hong Kong, two 3D martial arts movies. There's Dynasty and Revenge of the Shogun Women, but Dynasty was just because the current 3D, it's the ones I've seen, it's all just depth of field. No one wants depth of field. You want shit flying at you. That's what 3D is supposed to be.
Right, right. Yeah, I've only seen one modern 3D movie and it didn't agree with me. So I've just never gone back to another one.
Yeah, I saw two, I think I've seen, and it just they did nothing for me. Plus, I wear glasses, so a lot of times the 3D doesn't work right for me.
Yeah, I wear glasses for reading subtitles and at actual movie theaters. So same issue.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. But the martial arts stuff is still, and that's something that still I am so just always discovering stuff, I mean, there's tons of it to watch on Amazon, and I'm always finding stuff there that I haven't seen before.
Definitely. And I was going to actually do a shout out later, but I'll go ahead and do it early. My very good buddy Al from the Them's Fighting Words YouTube channel, which is a channel that focuses just basically on martial arts and kind of that sweet spot, 70s, 80s, early 90s kind of stuff. And I'm just always discovering something new from him. He is just always turning me on to some new martial arts film and he has great taste in them, obviously, because I'm liked everything he's recommended.
Wow, yeah, that's really like a never-ending discovery route you can go down. Because, like I said, there's always something I can find that I haven't seen before.
Yeah, he turned me on one recently, really good. I mean, one of the best I've seen in a long time was Ninja in the Dragon's Den.
Ooh.
And it was more of a lighthearted one, but kind of a Chinese kung fu martial artist versus a ninja, a Japanese ninja. At the end, they kind of become buddies and team up. Like, it was a lot of fun, and it was on Amazon Prime's where I watched it.
Oh, wow. I saw one a few years back on there that still is in my top 5 now, was 8 Diagram Pole Fighter.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, which I think, who is the star? I think that was the one that the star was killed partly through filming, and they kind of had to work around that. But that's a really good one.
Yeah, I saw that one, I'm pretty sure, on El Rey. It's been a long time, though, so I don't remember specifics. But I do remember seeing it and digging that one.
No. Is El Rey still around? They used to run really good stuff.
I'm not sure. Since I moved, I don't get the channel anymore.
Yeah,
so.
I switched cable services, and I don't get it anymore either. But they ran good stuff.
Oh yeah, and all the martial arts films. My DVR used to just be slam full of the different Shaw Brothers stuff from the 70s and 80s that they were. I mean, every day it seemed like there was at least 2 or 3 different martial arts films on there.
Oh, yeah, and that's something that they're still hard to find. I mean, if you want to get like physical copies of them, there's still a lot of them are hard to find.
Right. Yeah, that's one thing that Al and I talk about a lot. Is kind of like stuff I have, stuff he has. It's just hard to find these days.
Yeah, I don't know if the rights are kind of, messy with them for people to put out physical copies, but it's always a bit of a challenge to find them.
Yeah, he was showing me it's a foreign release, so I'm not sure of the region, but it was the Lucky Stars trilogy, and he swears by that one, so I've really been wanting to see it. And it's this nice Blu-ray set, but again, I'm not sure on the region, and I don't have a regionless Blu-ray player yet.
Yeah, those are supposed to be good. Is that Sammo Hung?
Yeah, I think Sammo is in those.
Yeah, I think he is. Yeah. I've been wanting to check those out too.
Yeah, it's a really nice release. Really nice. Do you have a regionless Blu-ray player?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I should have figured.
Yeah. I think I don't remember now, but I remember one specific movie came out. Then I figured I had to buy one. I forget what it is now, but yeah.
One neat thing about the different regions is with DVD, there was a ton of different regions. But at least with Blu-ray, there's only a couple. And the only foreign Blu-ray I have is from Japan. And luckily, Japan and the US are in the same region now. So I didn't need a regionless one for it.
Oh, wow, that's cool. Oh, I remember I got a region-free player when years ago in Germany, they started putting out some of the Paul Naschy movies on Blu-ray. So that's what triggered me to get a Blu-ray player, a region-free Blu-ray player. But now, like I said, I can't remember the last time. Oh, I just bought the new Dawn of the Dead Blu-ray set, and that was region locked. So I'm glad I had a Blu-ray player for that.
Where was that from?
That came out from England.
Okay.
That's really nice. They did like a frame-by-frame restoration of it. It looks just mind-blowingly great now.
Oh, I always thought the DVD looked really good.
Yeah, so did I, because I had that big DVD box set with all the different cuts of them. But it's really cool. They give you the movie, then you get 2 CDs, one with the Goblin score and one with all the library music scoring. And so, yeah, it's cool. But that was a little bit of, we got off track there a little bit.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
So speaking of action stars, bringing it back to America a little bit, everyone knows the big boys. You got your Schwarzenegger, Stallone, et cetera, et cetera. Who are some of your favorite second tier or even third or fourth tier martial arts or action stars, I should say?
Oh, well, I don't know if you really consider her lower tier, but I brought her up before, but I always have a real soft spot for Cynthia Rothrock.
Of course, yeah.
I mean, the movies, some of them aren't so great, but they're always entertaining, and I just enjoy watching her. They're always fun movies to watch.
Well, she's one of those rare ones, and I was talking about this with Al the other day, but I mean, that's pretty much all I do is just sit around and wait for Al to message me. But she's one of those rare ones that kind of had some success in Hong Kong and had success in the East and West.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, she was just massive in Hong Kong. I think she was like their number one box office star for a while. Then she came over here and just those movies she made. I mean, they showed up constantly on late night cable, and there was always in the video store. There was always, seems like every time I went, there was a new Cynthia Rothrock movie.
Yeah, my first exposure to her was in one of my all-time favorite martial arts films. Top 5 easily is Shanghai Express, aka Millionaires Express. She played a bad guy.
Yeah. I remember, I think it was called 24 Hours to Midnight. That's one of my early ones I remember. Then, of course, the martial law movies, which I think were American. But yeah, I really like her.
Well, of course, too, Shawn O'Brien. Probably, I'd say.
Yeah, Shawn O'Brien, yeah.
Would you say that's probably her most famous role?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, one of the Shawn O'Briens might even been the first one. I remember had a young up-and-coming martial artist, Keith something. I forget his name. He had long hair. He wore a bandana and a leather jacket in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Keith, I forget his name, but I really thought he was going to be kind of one of the next big things. And he was in Mortal Kombat 2 as the new Sub-Zero. But after that, I don't recall ever seeing him again.
Oh, yeah, I don't remember his name either.
Like I remember, I think it was the director of maybe Enter the Dragon. The director of some Bruce Lee movie was on this documentary talking about how this Keith guy, was as fast with his feet as Bruce Lee was with his hands. And he was building up like he was going to be the next big thing too, but it just didn't happen for some reason.
Oh, wow.
Okay, but Cynthia Rothrock, that's a good one. Anybody else?
Nobody but I can think of offhand. I always just, to this day, I really just like kind of searching out like the mega low budget stuff. I think that stuff's really fascinating. Like there's a guy named David Pryor that's made some stuff. I think now they brought them out on DVD, but they're all just from video. And they're just these amazingly like low budget action movies. They're really, really good. One called Man Killers, and there's one called Deadly Prey. I know I've got they're really good.
Oh, I'll have to look into those. Yeah, I like the really low budget ones too. Like I really like Samurai Cop. A lot of people are like, oh, it's so bad, it's good. I don't agree. I just think it's just a fun movie.
That is a fun movie. Yeah.
I mean, it's sleazy, it's over the top. I mean, yeah, I like that one.
Yeah. And then there was also the ones like that were what was her name? There's a lady named Charlene, what was it, Harmon, I think, did some with the guy that directed Don't Go in the Woods. They did a couple action movies like Lady Street Fighter and The Executioner Part 2 that are just these amazing low budget kind of messes that are just massively entertaining.
I don't know. I think it might have been you and I that have discussed this already. I don't recall. Angelfist. You ever seen that one?
I don't think I've ever seen that one.
Oh, that's it. That's a one I loved, and I wish they would release it on. I don't think it's on DVD, but it's basically just a female martial artist, but it's really sleazy. Like there's this amazing topless locker room kung fu fight. Great stuff.
Oh wow, what's the name of it again?
Angelfist.
I'll have to check for that. It sounds familiar. And there's some really good kind of that I've discovered more modern action stuff too that you can find like on Netflix and stuff. Like there's that one actor, they're Indonesian, Joe Taslim. He did one recently I saw called The Night Comes for Us. It's just this like 2 hours of just shootings and stabbings and arm breakings and back snappings and.
Oh, I'm so far behind in modern movies.
Yeah, I just happened to this pull up in my Netflix. Hey, you should watch this. I said, well, I'll check this out. And for 2 hours, it's just like nonstop violence.
I did see Polar. I thought that was quite good.
Oh, I haven't seen that one yet.
Yeah, I recommend it. Definitely a good, over-the-top, violent movies like they used to make. Definitely not a modern feeling movie.
Oh, okay. There's also the ones that are probably 10 years old now or so, but there was the Raid.
I've heard of those. I haven't seen them.
Yeah, I haven't seen those, but those are supposed to be good too.
Yeah, jumping back with the kind of the second tier or third tier or fourth tier kind of people. There's quite a few of those I liked because in that early 90s time period when I was just renting constantly and going to the movies constantly, and my hometown still at that point only had one chain theater. So I was still getting the independently lower budget stuff, but there's a lot of people like Gary Daniels, and then of course, even though it sounds weird to say this now, Brandon Lee, because Brandon Lee really didn't hit it big until after his death with The Crow.
Yes.
So like all his stuff before The Crow, that was kind of lower budget kind of movies.
Yeah. I think he sadly only got famous after he was killed. He was killed accidentally.
Because there was of course Showdown in Little Tokyo, there was Laser Mission, there was
Oh, I remember Laser Mission. Yeah.
yeah, and there was one in between, Rapid Fire, I want to say was the name.
Yeah.
I actually did see that one in the theater. I thought it was
Oh,
cool.
wow.
So yeah, I was a Brandon Lee fan before The Crow.
Oh, wow. I remember we always had to go, for some reason, I guess it was the marketing or something, but we always had to go, when I lived in Detroit, we always had to go downtown to watch the Kung Fu movies and stuff. For some reason, they didn't make it out to the suburbs, so we always had to make the trip into downtown to watch the Kung Fu triple features.
Oh. Well, a little bit of action on the way to the action. It makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. But I really miss seeing Kung Fu in the theater.
And speaking of Showdown in Little Tokyo, Dolph Lundgren is another. I mean, I guess he's more second tier, maybe even moving up into first tier, but he's another really good one that I always liked his stuff and would go see pretty much anything he was in.
Yeah. He was huge for a while.
Yeah, like he had a little patch there where he was doing kind of really cool kind of movies like Dark Angel, aka I Come in Peace.
Oh, yeah.
Which was kind of, I guess, action sci-fi. And then there was The Punisher, of course.
Yes.
Just some good stuff in there.
Yeah, he was cool for a while. And he was married to Grace Jones for a while, right?
Was it Grace Jones?
I think it was Grace Jones. Man, they could have kids that could conquer the world.
I know, right? Well, Grace Jones dated everybody at that point. I think she dated Stallone, Schwarzenegger. Wouldn't be surprised if Dolph got in there as well.
I think Dolph was in there. They might have even been married, I think. I may be wrong, so I don't want to throw rumors out there, but I think maybe they were married.
Yeah, we definitely don't want to start a 30-year-old rumor. Yeah, Dolph was really good. And he was really good. He played a hero well and he played a villain well, because I think it was Universal Soldier, the Van Damme movie where he was the bad guy, and there's the great scene where he has the necklace of ears.
Yeah. I remember seeing that in the theater.
So, okay, here's a question for you. And as I've said a zillion times, my favorite actor, Kurt Russell. Would you consider Kurt an action star?
Yeah, I definitely think, with the Escape from New York movies and stuff, I think of him as kind of an action guy.
Yeah, just because he does everything so well. I mean, I think he can just play any part, any style. I mean, he can go from Snake Plissken to like that nerdy little guy he played in the movie where the cop was obsessed with his wife, all the way up to now he's playing Santa Claus.
Oh, yeah, I saw a preview for that. Yeah, I definitely could think. I think of Kurt as an action guy.
Yeah. Then, of course, Kurt, then I guess by default would be my favorite action star of the 80s.
Yeah. It's kind of weird. You can go online now and go on YouTube and watch his screen test for Star Wars. Oh,
yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, he would have made a great Han Solo, I think.
Oh, I mean, that whole cast. I mean, imagine that. Him as Han Solo. What's her name from that band, Berlin? Is it Berlin?
Terry Nunn.
Terry Nunn is Leia, and then William Catt is Luke. I mean, that would have been a phenomenal cast.
Yeah, the only thing I wonder about, though, if Kurt had taken that, we wouldn't have got the Kurt John Carpenter years, maybe.
You're right. I think so. His career would have taken a totally different path.
Yeah, we wouldn't have got, The Thing and Escape from New York and all the good stuff.
Or Elvis, even.
Elvis, yeah, I always forget about Elvis.
That was kind of the movie that I think kind of showed what he could do.
Yeah, yeah. That, and he was in, he did a really good TV movie where he played the sniper. I think it was called The Deadly Tower.
Right. What year was that?
Oh, gosh. Late 70s, maybe?
Okay.
Yeah. But I think Kurt Russell is a severely underrated actor. I mean, he's great, but I think just as far as an acting chops, he's just magnificent.
He is. And he's a good director, too. It came out semi-recently that he was actually the real director of Tombstone.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Hey, yeah, I love Kurt. We could probably do a whole Kurt episode one day.
I think we did.
I think we did, too. Yeah, we could probably do a part 2, though.
Part 2, yeah, definitely. And, okay, this leads into a question. Westerns. Do you think of Westerns as action movies or just kind of their own beast?
I think there are Western movies, then there's maybe Western action movies.
Okay.
Like action movies maybe in a Western setting. Like I think maybe the Fred Williamson movies we discussed earlier, those could definitely be considered action movies.
Yeah, exactly. But then like something like Sergio Leone stuff, I would not consider action films.
But sometimes the Western movies had like those guys on a mission thing. Mm-hmm. Where I think definitely some Westerns you could classify as action movies. I think, same thing with mystery and kind of almost maybe every genre there's always going to be an action subgenre.
Right. Yeah. A lot of the Franco Nero Westerns, not only are they great stuff, really action packed as well.
Yeah. He's another one of those guys that just had that great screen presence. This is one of those ones I remember watching in the theaters at some point was, Django.
Okay. Yeah.
It's on like a revival thing or something where he pulls the Gatling gun around in the coffin.
The little coffin. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's a good movie. Yeah. The first Franco Nero movie I saw, I forget the title because it's an unusual title. It was two people's names. It was like so-and-so and so-and-so was the... Forget what the so is like Left Ear McGee and something. I forget what exactly, but it was really good. And I meant to take mental note of what it was called, but I lost it.
Yeah, he's really good. He did a lot kind of the police kind of action movies over in Italy and Europe too. But yeah, he's one of those guys that I'll pretty much watch in anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen anything but his Westerns, now that I think about it.
He did a bunch of crime movies, and you pull up his filmography, and he's just kind of all over the place. He was in one of the ninja movies, I think, wasn't he?
Right. Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah, definitely seen that, yeah.
Yeah.
Was it Enter the Ninja?
I think it was Enter the Ninja, the first one, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one, too.
Yeah, then it was Return of the Ninja. Then there was the third one with the girl who gets possessed by the ninja?
The completely unrelated third one, Ninja 3, the
Domination, yeah, where she's like the aerobics instructor or something.
I actually covered that one on the channel.
Oh, that's right, you did. Yes, yeah.
Yeah, and I had to point out the V8 scene, just the oddest sex scene you've ever seen. Her pouring the V8 on her chest. Because, I mean, what says sexy more than a V8?
Yeah, well, it's great product placement.
Yeah, there you go.
You ever think of V8 the same way again?
V8 and a lot of, this, not the kind of thing people are thinking of, a lot of ball crushing in that one. Golf balls and pool balls and just all kinds of balls being crushed.
Yeah, that's a fun movie, though. That's another great late-night cable one.
Definitely, yeah. Totally different vibe than the others, but...
Yeah.
So have you seen any of the Lone Wolf and Cub films and the Shogun Assassin? I've been talking to Al about these as well.
Yes. I love those movies. I've kind of bought those. I started off on bootleg VHS and now they're out in a really nice box set. And I love those movies.
I was really impressed. No, I haven't. I've been wanting to, but I was really impressed with that Criterion set because not only did it have all the Lone Wolf and Cub films, they also put Shogun Assassin on there.
Yeah. Which was the American kind of. I think they took the first two movies and chopped them together. But yeah, I think those movies, just the action sequences in those with all like the blood splurting and those are really good movies.
Yeah, I've heard people say that they actually do prefer Shogun Assassin to the originals.
Oh, really? Well, I guess it kind of takes all the action stuff and just kind of puts it in this one kind of movie. There was another one too that they put together over here called Lightning Swords of Death, which was parts of the movies kind of stuck together that they released over here to theaters. But yeah, I really enjoy those movies.
So speaking of, maybe you've heard of these. It was funny. I saw a trilogy of movies years back. I think it was on IFC, and I could have sworn it starred the guy from Shogun Assassin. And I was trying recently to remember them, and I just could not, for the life of me, remember what they were called, or I couldn't find that guy's link to it or anything like that. And it was driving me crazy. But then I mentioned it to my good buddy Vance Capley at VanceCapleyArt.com, and Vance, he found it in like 10 minutes. I spent an hour the night before searching for the name of this movie, but he found it in like 10 minutes. Very impressive, Vance. Very impressive.
Oh, wow.
He listens.
What's the name of it?
It's a trilogy called about Hanzo the Razor. And the reason I thought it was the guy from Shogun Assassin is it's his brother.
Oh, really?
So, and they look, I wonder if they're twins, because they definitely look a lot alike, but it started his brother. And it's basically about this in the plot, I kid you not, he's kind of a detective-y guy, and he uses his large penis to solve mysteries.
Wow. That's all I can say to that is wow.
Love that complete silence.
Yeah.
And they're serious movies, very dark, very uncomfortable at times, and not adult films by any means. I don't even recall if there was nudity or not in them, but just a very strange, great example of Japanese exploitation films.
Wow.
But yeah, it's Hanzo the Razor.
Oh, man. I may have to look for that just to see what happens in there. I wonder if they ever did a movie together. They should have.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I was just so surprised because, like I said, the resemblance it's uncanny.
Yeah, that's interesting. Things you'll learn. Yeah, this is the kind of cool stuff you learn on this podcast, folks.
That's right. Hanzo the Razor and his large member solving mysteries.
Crime-solving penis.
Yes. So of kind of the big boys, the big action stars of the 80s, your Stallones, etc., who was your favorite, or who did you gravitate toward anyone?
No one specifically. I did like some of the Stallone stuff, but not everything. I liked a lot of the Jean-Claude Van Damme ones.
Mm-hmm.
Those were always entertaining, especially the one where he's in the Foreign Legion. I thought that was a good one.
Yeah, I always liked Stallone, but I didn't. A lot of his movies were things just that weren't really of my interest. Whereas Schwarzenegger, I think he did a lot more stuff I think I just wanted to see, like your Conans and then Predator and stuff like that.
Yeah, and the Schwarzenegger stuff always seemed to be, I don't know how I could just, but maybe like just more entertaining kind of.
Mm-hmm.
You know, stuff like Commando and stuff like that. It was just the Schwarzenegger stuff. I just really just enjoy watching. And the Stallone stuff, a lot of it, I don't know. I have a hard time revisiting it.
I'll tell you what, I haven't seen it since I was a kid, so it could be the case. But man, when I was like 8, 9-ish, somewhere around there, Over the Top, I watched that movie over and over again. And it's a drama about arm wrestling. I mean, it's a ridiculous premise, but I sure did like it.
I saw that in the theater. And it was like one of the most unbelievable theatrical. I mean, at the end of that movie, people were like standing up and pumping their fists and cheering.
Wow.
Yeah, I expected guys to start ripping their shirts off and stuff.
You know, that's one of those things I hate when people talk in movies. But there's certain movies that when the audience just really gets into it, it can add to the enjoyment. I remember seeing, speaking of Van Damme, a movie called Lionheart. I remember seeing that at the cheap theater, and it was a slam-packed theater. But man, the people were just so into it and cheering and hooting and hollering. It made it a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think especially for martial arts movies and stuff, sometimes they work best in a crowd. You don't want people like talking over the whole thing, but when a crowd really gets into a movie like that, it really can help with the experience.
There was a scene in a Van Damme movie, I think it's Hard Target, where he punches a snake and knocks it unconscious. That's just good
Yeah.
stuff right there. That's just fine movie making right there.
And that's the one that is that the one they did with John Woo?
Oh, I don't know. Did he do one with John Woo?
Yes. I think
Wow.
that yeah, I think that was Hard Target. Yeah, that's
Okay.
somebody else we can kind of bring up is the first time you saw a John Woo movie.
Weirdly enough, I'm not super into the gunplay type stuff.
I just
So,
remember when The Killer kind of was making the rounds. It was another one of those things that just kind of blew everybody's mind.
but though that being said, with John Woo, I kind of avoided a lot of his stuff for a long time because, again, I'm not into the gun fu kind of things. But then I saw Last Hurrah for Chivalry, which is another of my all-time favorites and in my top five favorites of all times, and that's one of his, and it's that movie is amazing.
Yes, that is a good one. Yeah. And the thing too about the John Woo movies is I really like the Chow Yun Fat.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, he came over and made some. What was the one he did with Maria Sorvino? Replacement Killers.
That's right. Yeah.
That's a good one. I do like that one.
You haven't seen that one either, but I do like him.
Yeah, yeah. He's good. And just going back to Stallone for a minute, the one I've been wanting to revisit that I remember kind of liking when I first saw it, but I don't know if it's held up, is Cobra.
Oh yeah, that's funny. I was going to bring up Cobra. That was a favorite of mine as a kid. Really
Yeah.
was into that one a lot. And there was this scene where they stop. They're on the run or trying to not witness protection, but trying to hide that Brigitte Nielsen's character from that cult that's after her.
Yes.
And they stop at this roadside like stand. And as a kid, I just, oh my goodness, that toy stand. I wanted to go there so bad. I wanted to find out where it was. It just seemed so cool. That just really, I loved that toy stand.
Yeah, that's something I've been wanting to go back and revisit that once, but sometimes you're scared because you don't want to revisit stuff that you have fond memories of and find out that it doesn't hold up and it kind of destroys your memories.
I don't know. I can't say. Haven't seen it in a long time, but I just have this feeling that one will hold up. And the guy who played the bad guy, the villain, I don't know the actor's name, but he was kind of a great heavy in the 80s, played a lot of crazy people and killers and bad guys, and he was excellent as well.
Oh yeah, who was that? That was yeah.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, which I might be, was he the actor who in Fright Night Part 2 was kind of the Renfield-esque character? And at the end, like they cut his stomach open and all the bugs came out.
Might have been. It wasn't Andrew Robinson, was it?
Hold on, we're gonna put
He
the
was in
po-
Cobra.
we're gonna
Yeah.
put the pod on hold for a second. I'm gonna check.
This is where the law stops. And I start.
Okay, and we're back, and I looked it up, and yeah, that's him. From his name's Brian Thompson, and he was the villain in Cobra, and he was Bosworth in Fright Night 2.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Look, he's done a bunch of stuff, and you're right. He is one of those faces.
Yeah, I mean, you'd know him if one of those guys. You don't know his name, but you know him if you saw him.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like he did a bunch of like he was a vampire in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and like all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, he showed up on a bunch of. Didn't he show up on a bunch of X-Files too? Didn't he?
Let's see.
He was like a bounty, that alien bounty hunter or something. I think.
Yeah, I didn't watch a lot of that one.
I
Oh well,
just-
just really tying things together. He was in that movie Lionheart I was talking about. Of course, like you said, he was in Cobra. Let's see. I just saw something else. He was in Mortal Kombat too. He played Shao Kahn.
Oh wow, yeah. Oh, he was in Fred Olen Ray's Commando Squad too,
Okay, well there you go.
with William Smith and Kathy Shower. Yeah, he's a great guy.
Yeah, he was on several episodes of Werewolf, if you remember that one.
Oh, and he played one of the punks in the original Terminator.
Oh, and you're right, the X-Files, Alien Bounty Hunter.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there it is, way up there.
Yeah, he did a ton of Star Trek too. Wow.
Yeah, busy guy.
Yeah, yeah, I've always liked him. I mean, he just has a great. I mean, sure, he's a perfectly nice fella in real life, but just has a great villain face.
Yeah. Yeah, cool. You could do a Brian Thompson episode.
There we go. You mentioned the punks in Terminator. Wasn't Bill Paxton one of those punks
Yeah,
as
he was a
well?
punk. Yeah, yeah. Because him and James Cameron worked together at New World for Roger Corman.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
because Paxton started out as I think he's building sets. Then Corman started out as kind of a set designer there too, because they both worked on Galaxy of Terror, I think.
Yeah, we were actually talking about it offline, or not offline, through messages about Barnes and Barnes, which is the Bill Mooney's group, most famous for fish heads, but they have a vast library of music. But yeah, they were kind of buddies with Bill Paxton early on, and he directed a lot of their early music videos.
Oh, wow.
Like, if
Yeah.
I'm not mistaken, he did the fish heads video.
Oh, wow. Yeah, he's one of those guys that's still sad to think he's gone.
Yeah, yeah, I've always liked him. And he was talk about someone who was good in everything they did.
Yeah, yeah. At one of my previous work experience places, one of the guys I knew there was traveling for business once, and he got to sit next to Bill Paxton on like a cross country flight.
I hear he's very friendly, or was very
He
friendly.
was very, very friendly. Said he talked all about, he said, ask me anything you want.
Nice.
Yeah, he was real personable. Yeah.
You ever seen The Dark Backward?
No.
It's this weird but wonderful movie. If you haven't seen it since the 90s, though, it may not be as wonderful now, but it was a Judd Nelson movie, and he was this really awful comedian. And he randomly grew a third arm, and because he grew this third arm, people started thinking he was a good comedian.
Oh, wow.
But Bill Paxton was his weird friend who ate garbage. Like I said, a very weird movie.
What's it called?
The Dark Backward.
Oh, wow. He did that. Oh, he did a slasher movie, I remember too, or kind of a pseudo slasher. May have been one of his first movies, where he killed people with one of those big needles that they use when they embalm you.
Was that Mortuary?
Mortuary, yeah, yeah,
Funny, never seen it, but I know that.
yeah, yeah.
I know that thanks to another shout out, my good buddy Jay Super Awesome. So,
Oh, okay, cool.
who has another YouTube channel, Jay Super Awesome, J space Super Awesome.
Oh, okay, good, good. Another shout out. That's great. You're
Yeah.
doing the shout outs.
You know, they're just coming so natural today. Bill Paxton. And speaking of Bill Paxton, he had the rare honor, the only person to be killed by a certain amount of different famous things. Like he was
Oh.
killed by the Predator. I think he was killed by the Terminator. I think he was killed by the aliens.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. When you think about it, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot he was in Predator.
Yeah, Predator too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, one of the best characters in that one too.
Yeah, yeah.
I tell you, as a kid, I haven't seen him since then, so opinion could be very different. But I actually liked the second Predator better, because even though the first one, I mean, the first one was the first one, the Predator you really didn't see him toward the end. But in the second Predator, there was a lot more of the actual Predator running around, and as a kid who liked monsters, I wanted to see more of the Predator.
Yeah, and plus it was cool getting him in the city,
Hmm.
where it was kind of because the jungle stuff. The first one's cool, but I do, like I said, I have the fond place for the second one.
And talk about a great cast in that first one. I mean, that's an action movie cast right there.
Yeah, Carl
Carl
Weathers
Weathers, who's fantastic.
and Bill Duke.
Yeah, Jesse Ventura.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, speaking of Carl Weathers and giving us back to action, I actually saw Action Jackson in the theater.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, I loved that kind of stuff. And as a small child, I was really into Carl Weathers for some reason. Like, I used to watch the Rocky movies, and I didn't care a thing about Rocky. It was Apollo Creed that I always rooted for.
Yeah, he's just one of those guys, that just seem to have that great screen presence.
And I think he has a good sense of humor, too, because if you've ever seen Arrested Development, where he plays that really kind of shady version of himself, it's good times.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I always like when an actor will play like kind of a shady or stupid or just a ridiculous take on themselves. I always respect that.
Yeah, yeah. But he is cool.
Yeah, speaking of, one of the best shows I've seen in a long while. It's called Life's Too Short. It's not action at all, but now I'm thinking about it. It's called Life's Too Short. It stars Warwick Davis.
Oh, I haven't seen that yet.
It's really good, and he plays himself. But wow, does he play a scumbag version of himself? He is not a good person.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's really good. But there's almost every episode has a different celebrity cameo playing like some kind of bad version of themselves.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's a good one. Well, it's a Ricky Gervais, one of his kind of shows. So
Oh, okay. And I'm so far behind in watching new stuff.
it's several years old now.
Oh, I'm really
2011
behind then.
2011-ish, probably. But yeah, I recommend that one. I think you'd get a kick out of it.
Oh, okay. Cool. I'll have to see if I can find it on one of my stations.
Well, it's on Amazon Prime.
Oh, it is
For
on
our-
Amazon. Okay.
Yeah, and kind of speaking of, the kind of because blaxploitation mainly had its heyday in the 70s, of course, but there was some bleed over into the 80s, and I really dug those movies. Like, what was it, The Last Dragon? That was I saw that multiple times at the theater. I liked that one a lot.
Yeah, that was a good one. There was some, like you said, bleed over into the 80s and 90s. Yeah, Last Dragon was good. I'm trying to think of some other ones.
Yeah, I'll tell you another one I liked, which was kind of a parody of blaxploitation films, and that was I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker.
Yes, that was a good one. Yeah, yeah.
And then they made a made-for-TV sequel called A Hammer, Slammer, and Slade, which I actually liked that one even better.
Oh, I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah, because if you remember what was it, Kung Fu? I don't think it was Kung Fu Jones, because Kung Fu Jones was the Kung Fu fighter in I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker. He got gunned down, but in Hammer, Slammer, and Slade, he said that he survived.
Oh, wow.
So I dug that.
Cool. It was a TV movie, huh?
Yeah, made for TV, and it had the main cast except for the Wayans brother. He didn't come back for it, but it was everybody else.
Oh, okay. Neat, neat. Action.
Well, since we are calling this an 80s action Christmas, maybe we'll throw a little bit of Christmas stuff in there, just
Okay.
so it's not completely misleading.
Sure.
So what do you have any kind of Christmas traditions? Anything you have to do every year? Even though we've probably talked about this on the last Christmas pod, that was years ago. No one remembers that.
No, not really. I mean, there is certain movies I always like to watch. I tend to gravitate more toward the holiday kind of, stuff like Black Christmas and Silent Night, Deadly Night, and things like that. But just kind of, watch movies. I always like to watch Die Hard.
I mean, that does take place at Christmas, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's always the big debate. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie or isn't it a Christmas movie? But I think Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
That's another debate I heard someone talking about just the other day. Gremlins. Is Gremlins a Christmas movie?
I guess it could be a Christmas movie. I've never thought of as a Christmas movie, but it does. It's another one of the ones that does take place at Christmas. So yeah, I could see that as a Christmas movie.
And wasn't Gizmo a Christmas present?
Yes, he was. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Add that one to the Christmas watch list, I guess.
Well, there you go. Yeah, I mean, I have my usual, like many people, watch A Christmas Story multiple times on Christmas Eve.
Yes, yeah, that's a good one too. Yeah.
Well, that's always been one of my favorites. Like even before it got this surge of popularity in recent-ish years, I remember catching that one on HBO one year as a kid, and I just loved it because it was a Christmas movie, but it's not all touchy-feely or sappy or sad or anything like that. It's just a fun Christmas movie from start to finish. So it's always been one of my favorites.
Yeah, and Darren McGavin is great in that.
He definitely is.
And whenever I see that movie, though, to this day, and I see what's his name, Peter Billingsley.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I see him, I always think it came out right before Christmas Story. He did that really great movie called Death Valley.
I don't know that one.
It's really cool. It starts off with him and his family in New York City, and then he kind of cross paths with this serial killer. And the serial killer ends up chasing his family following him all the way across the country, and they end up with this like showdown in Death Valley.
So it's a serious movie then.
Yeah, it's definitely serious. It's like a
Okay.
kind of a slasher thriller. It's called Death Valley.
Hmm.
And it's really good. You should check it out. But whenever I saw that, the first time I saw Christmas Story, that's a kid from Death Valley.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Have I told you my theory about Darren McGavin in Christmas Story?
No, is this related to Kolchak?
Yes, it is.
Okay, what's the theory?
That he is Kolchak.
Yeah, you could get the same grumpy kind of thing going on.
It's like after he got tired of fighting the supernatural and all that kind of stuff. And so he eventually retired and moved to the suburbs. Because if you watch Christmas Story, they never call him by his first name. And then all those scenes where he goes down into the basement to fight the furnace, I'm doing air quotes. I think he was just down there up to his old tricks, fighting monsters.
That's true. That is a great theory, Rob.
I mean, granted, it takes place in totally different decades, but just squint, turn upside down, and it makes sense.
Yeah. But that always is a Christmas favorite for me too. And I think doesn't TBS run it for like 24 hours straight something like that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Darren McGavin. I mean, he makes that movie, in my opinion. I can't imagine it with anyone else.
Yeah, he's one of those. Whoever cast that movie just hit gold with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when he gets his big it says fragile, it must be from Italy.
Oh yeah. Good stuff. Yeah. 1 year, and they only did it once. I thought it was so cool. Was TBS did 24 hours of A Christmas Story, and then TNT did 24 hours of Jingle All the Way, which is another one I find a lot of fun. So I would just jump back and forth. I'd watch Christmas Story, jump over, watch Jingle All the Way, jump back for another serving of Christmas Story, and so on for 24 hours.
Wow.
And I bring it back to Arnold Schwarzenegger from Jingle All the Way.
Oh, yeah.
And he's one very underrated as a comedian, because I think some of his comedic roles are some of his finest. Kindergarten Cop, of course, Jingle All the Way, Twins.
Oh yeah, I love Kindergarten Cop. Yeah, maybe it's not a tumor.
Yeah. Speaking of Kindergarten Cop and action movies, I quite like the guy who played the bad guy in the Kindergarten Cop. I do not know his name off the top of my head, but he's one that kind of jumped back and forth. Like, I've seen him play villains, I've seen him play good guys. He even had a cop show briefly in the 80s called Hardball, and he would actually wear kind of his badge on a t-shirt, kind of Superman style, and he would pull open his shirt and show his badge.
Oh wow.
But he had his long hair, so that's the only reason I would have watched a cop show in the 80s. It's like, oh, the star has long hair, I gotta watch that.
Yeah, that was one good thing about that time period, that whole through 80s and maybe into the 90s. It was probably one of the last periods where we really got lots of the really good character actors. Yeah. Where you could just see guys show up in like cable movies and video movies and stuff like that.
And bringing it back to action, Remo Williams. You ever see that one?
Oh, yeah, Fred Ward.
That was a big time favorite of mine as a kid. Oh, yeah. I watched that over and over and over again.
That's one of those movies, the first time I saw it, man, this thing is huge. It's great. And I thought there was going to be sequels and everything, and it just kind of died and went away.
Yeah, which was weird. And Fred Ward is great, too.
I love Fred Ward.
We talked about him, didn't we? A recent pod, too, at that.
Yeah, because I brought up, he did that great thing where he was the detective in the Lovecraft world.
Yeah, that's it, yeah. Yeah, he's good. Did we discuss Tremors on that one?
I don't think so, but I can always talk about Tremors.
Yeah, the second one is, I think, my favorite, at least when I first saw them, because, isn't that the one that stars just Fred Ward?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, because the first one was Kevin Bacon and Fred Ward. Then I think it was the second one was the Fred Ward one. And then the third one on is when it started being the Michael Gross films.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Oh, and kind of circling back to action from Tremors, the woman that's Tremors, Finn Carter,
mm-hmm.
I remember after Tremors came out, I saw she showed up in this, was called Sweet Justice, where she was this Navy SEAL who something happened, like her sister was kidnapped, and she went all Arnold Schwarzenegger badass in it and shot a bunch of people and everything.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah, it's called Sweet Justice. That was the name of it, yeah.
Yeah, there was a kind of that time period in the late 80s and early 90s where you'd have people who were bigger stars, but their career started to wane, so they would kind of go into the lower budget action movies. Like, I remember for a while when Charlie Sheen was basically just doing that kind of stuff before he had his big revival.
Yeah, with the TV show with 2.5 Men. Yeah, he cranked out a bunch of that stuff.
Yeah, there was a great one. I forget the name where he had a mullet. Yeah, I liked those kind of things. And if I even recall right, I think even some of the one of the Coreys did a couple of low budget action movies too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was a great time. I wonder because I don't pay much attention to modern movies. I know in the age of the cell phone, horror movies, it's just ridiculous how many horror movies come out now because anyone with a cell phone can make a movie. Like, well, I should say an iPhone can make a movie. So there's just been a flood of low budget horror movies. But is that the same case with action movies?
I don't know. All I see about is the horror movies because I get a bunch of requests because I've done stuff on Kickstarter before for people and through my blog people. And I just get this, hey, I'm making a movie, can you do $25? And the first thing it says is found footage. And I say, no, thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're out there running around the woods with your cell phone. But yeah, I'm not sure if there's been a revival of low budget action or not. Horror is probably easier to film.
Right, yeah, because it doesn't require the physicality in most cases that an action movie
Yeah,
would.
and the pyrotechniques and the guns and everything, if that's what you're into, and the fight choreography and stuff. It's a lot easier just to go make a horror film, probably.
That's true.
Mhm.
Then I guess maybe it is kind of a lost art, the low budget action movie.
Yeah, it's a shame, but luckily we have a bunch of them coming out on DVD and Blu-ray. It seems like they're bringing more and more out. Because I know Vinegar Syndrome just brought out one on their Black Friday sale called Action USA.
Okay.
So I've had a bootleggy copy of that I downloaded from somewhere off VHS, and this thing is just great. It was made by a stuntman whose name I can't recall right now, who was living in Texas. So the thing is just like wall-to-wall stunts, like people hanging out of cars, and there's like a fight in a car where they punch each other and they fly out through the back window and keep fighting on the trunk of the car and hanging from helicopters and stuff. It's got William Smith in it, and Cameron Mitchell pops up in it, and Ross Hagen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's called Action USA, and it's the perfect title.
Wow. So Ross Hagen too, huh?
Yeah, Ross Hagen plays like the hit guy that's chasing these guys across Texas. But it's just like 90 minutes of car chases, explosions, and everything.
I don't know if you would consider an action movie. I guess not really, more of a thriller. But have you ever seen Duel?
Oh, yeah. Dennis Weaver?
I saw that one on El Rey as well several years back, and I was just floored with how good that movie is and shocked no one talks about it.
Yeah, that's and it's just, when you look at it, Dennis Weaver literally carries that entire movie. It's him in that car.
Yeah, he's really good too.
Yeah, Dennis Weaver was great.
That's kind of a genre movie. Like, I'm not in the car chases, but stuff like that I do enjoy, like the segment from the anthology film Nightmares, where basically the devil is messing with Lance Hendrickson.
Yeah.
Like, just stuff like that, I do quite enjoy. And there's, taking it back to Kurt, there's a Kurt Russell movie. I forget the name of it, and I like it so much. I don't know why it always escapes me. But basically, his wife is kidnapped by like an evil trucker, and it's just basically just Kurt trying to find his wife and get her back. Great stuff.
Oh wow, I don't know that one.
Yeah, it was one of his. It was 90s.
Yeah, any movie with a big truck.
Yeah,
is usually pretty good. Big trucks go well in action movies.
That's true.
There was the one with the country singer. It had Meatloaf in it too, I think. And the country singer Randy Travis.
I didn't know he did any movies.
Yeah, it was called like Black Knight or Black Truck or something like that. But that was pretty cool, I remember.
And I mean, I know we've already discussed it in depth, but can't have an action movie episode without giving at least a nod to Andy Sedaris.
Oh yeah, that's someone I was going to bring up, but then I don't know if we covered him too much before. But like you said, we can't have too much Andy, I guess.
That's right. Isn't that right, Ricardo?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But yeah, that Andy Sedaris, and I've seen a lot of his stuff is starting to leak out on Blu-ray now too.
Yeah, somebody's bringing it out, and it's fairly inexpensive too. I still got that DVD box set called like Girls and Guns or something.
I
That has
love that set, yeah. And it's
Yeah.
one of those things is they're pretty good quality. I don't know if I really need to upgrade for that. I think the DVD is kind of good.
Yeah, and that's one of those things that I mean, you could find it for like, in bins of the cheap DVDs for like $6. I mean, I used to just buy extra copies of that to give people. It's like, here, you need this in your life.
I got it for 5 at Kmart in a bin.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like, if you don't own this, you need to own it because I'm going to give you a copy. You need to watch all these movies.
Mhm. And on that, that's about all the time we have for this month. Do you have any shout outs since I did like 20 of them?
No, I think you got all the ones I was thinking of, Rob. So I think we're good. That was a great way to do it, by the way. I was duly impressed by all your shout outs today.
Well, thank you, thank you, thank you. I do what I can.
Happy holidays, everyone, and have an action-filled holiday, a safe action-filled holiday, and watch some cool movies. Watch some cool action movies.
That's right.